It's that time of year where we here in Harmon take a look back at the last 365 days and relive some of the many moments, milestones, and memories that collectively made the last 12 months a historic one. Hafa day, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us for a look back at 2012. I'm Mindy Aguon. Our job here is to document history, and this year was so much more than just elections and Olympics. Guam experienced events that rocked our community. Stories that made us laugh and cry, cringe in horror, and roll our eyes wondering what elected leaders were thinking. So we start our countdown of 2012's top moments with story number 10, the sensitive topic of abortion. Languishing in the legislature for nearly 2 years, Governor Eddie Calvo pushed the issue front and center. He introduced Bill 52 after his inauguration, and just before the November election, he called senators into special session to act on it. Some senators, however, called it political posturing.
Why now? You just have to question, that the timing. Timing is everything, of course, in politics. We all know that. It's very close. He wants a majority, and he'll do anything to make sure then that, based, I guess, on the polls, that the Democrats don't get a majority.
To be frank with you, the timing should have been last year. I'd introduced a bill the first month of my term as governor. I would have loved to have seen this bill get acted upon by the legislature. It wasn't me that held this bill back. It was the Speaker and the leadership.
Bill 52, otherwise known as the Women's Reproductive Health Information Act of 2011, mandates that no abortion shall be performed or induced without the voluntary and informed consent of a woman upon whom the abortion is to be performed, except in the case of a medical emergency. It also requires the physician provide the information to the woman at least 24 hours before the abortion. The debate on session floor was charged with emotion.
I can already tell this will pass. And I already have been cautioned. I have been warned. In some regards, I've been threatened. I ran for office to represent every single family and every single person, and that is what I'm doing. So this may be the end, but I'm doing what I said I would do, and it is my responsibility and my duty. So I just ask, what is the rush? Could there not have been one more conversation inviting all to talk about this?
If I vote on this bill today, it's because I believe in life. But let me tell you, there's definitely something wrong with the political wills in this community. There is so much persecution going on, and that needs to stop. And I'm really, really sorry from my heart that I had to stand up here with the emotion and the passion, because I know how it feels to have to choose between life and death.
The vote on the legislation was 11-4. Governor Eddie Calvo would sign it into law just days later.
With that, it is so important that when it comes to human life, at all forms, that we treasure it and we do our best in policy to ensure that human life is respected.
As 2012 wraps up, the resolution to Guam's health insurance stalemate could be resolved in 2013. It was in August when negotiations turned into protest involving the government of Guam's fiscal year 2013 health insurance request for proposal. Take Care Insurance was first to file an appeal alleging discriminatory and chaotic actions of the Department of Administration and the negotiating team.
Clearly, we're not happy with what's occurred.
Weeks after Take Care filed its protest and posted it online, Calvo Select Care and Staywell followed suit. Calvo Select Care claiming Take Care in their filings were clearly given an opportunity, along with another offerer, to change their proposal after the RFP was closed. Staywell agreed and further alleged Take Care was privy to what was supposed to be a confidential evaluation.
It's unfortunate and it's regretful that these actions need to be taken.
So I think to protect the protest rights of our company, it was the proper way to do it within the rules and procedures of the protest in GovGuam procurement rules.
As a consequence, the Department of Administration fessed up and admitted mistakes were made along the way.
It was a team decision and advice of counsel that we canceled the RFP.
As we reported, DOA Administrator Benita Manglotnia and the negotiating team felt that aside from their faults, a contributing part of why the process went sour this year was a result of laws that have changed over the years mandating how GovGuam shall negotiate its health insurance contract. Matter of fact, after the RFP debacle, Senator Ben Pangilinan introduced Bill 513 to once again change the process. Within 2 weeks, the legislation had a public hearing and was passed, this despite concerns raised by the Attorney General's office. Bill 513 was eventually vetoed by Acting Governor Ray Tenorio, and most recently, an override attempt failed. The next story in our countdown is the Deep Sea Challenge. The man behind mega million-dollar blockbusters like Avatar, Aliens, Terminator, and Titanic, James Cameron used Guam as his launching pad for his historic solo dive to the deepest point on Earth. In his lime green submersible, the National Geographic explorer in residence and Hollywood filmmaker sank solo 7 miles down into the Challenger Deep in the Marianas Trench. When he reached the ocean floor, he tweeted to the world, "All systems are okay," and hitting the bottom never felt so good.
The impression to me was that it was a very lunar, very desolate place, very isolated. My feeling was one of complete isolation from all of humanity. I mean, I felt like I, literally in the space of one day, have gone to another planet and come back.
The samples he collected and video he shot will be used for scientific research, TV documentary, and a movie. The March dive was just the first of many more to come. Due to technical difficulties he experienced with the initial dive, Cameron said things are to be continued.
So when my manipulator kind of froze up on me when the hydraulics ruptured, I saw a bunch of hydraulic oil going in front of my window, so I knew things weren't going so well in the hydraulics system. I couldn't take the rock samples that they needed, so that just means that I've got to go back and do some more.
Stay tuned for the sequel, perhaps in 2013. We're just warming up. Stay tuned. Our countdown of the top 10 stories of the year continues in just a moment. But first, here's a look at the top 10 most read stories on KUAM.com.